Welcome, everybody, to this week's podcast of The Providers. This week, I have longtime friend, digging back into like kindergarten years, Todd Bowen hanging out with me. He was one of the original founders of Pass-Through Productions with myself and Steve and Ron. Steve's not going to be with us again this week. He's working like crazy, but I'm sure he'll be with us soon to insert his input. But this week, going to be hanging out with Todd, talking about some really cool stuff with an awesome family property that he has and kind of how he's navigated turning that into a pretty special place and having lots of success on it. So it's going to be a fun episode. Hope you guys enjoy it.
Nothing cures a troubled mind like leaving boot prints in the mud. As that crisp morning air stands up your neck of hair and your adrenaline starts to flood. When you're a provider, you understand the things the woods can do. How you can lose yourself in the things that you love, but you can find yourself in them too. Yeah, we're the hard-hunting, freeze of fair land providers. Yeah, we're the hard-hunting, freeze of fair land providers.
Who doesn't love making a delicious meal for their family? Smokin' at Smokers allow you to do just that. Simply set the settings and walk away, only to come back hours later to have a delicious meal waiting for you. Smokin' at Smokers, when only the best will do.
All right, so I have one of the original OGs from Pass-Through Productions with me today. I got Todd Bowen hanging out, and Todd's actually hanging out because Steve is a UPS driver, and if you notice, he hasn't been on the show past couple weeks because he's working stupid hours. He's like, since Thanksgiving, he's working like 6 or 7 days a week for crazy hours. So Todd has made the drive over, and Todd is a longtime friend of mine. I think we go back to maybe kindergarten or first grade.
The green team,
baby, playing some little league baseball. So yeah, Todd is one of the original guys from Dansville. He was one of the four with myself and Steve and Ron, and Todd are the ones that got Pass-Through started back when you were still living local, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead and tell everybody a little bit about yourself, and then I'm going to fill in all the crazy stories that you don't want to talk about.
Well, thanks for letting me pop by before heading out to do some late season doe hunting. Yeah, it's interesting where we are today. I didn't grow up hunting. My dad didn't. My uncle didn't. My grandpa didn't. So getting into hunting was totally a fluke thing for me.
And that's where you and I were kind of the same. We're kind of the two out of the group that didn't have it in the family. I mean, right. I guess I have my older brother a little bit, but like it's not a generational
late to
thing.
The game.
Yeah,
say.
Big time.
Like, I mean, my kids, they'll never understand that. They're shooting deer when they're 10 years old, and I hadn't even shot a gun when I was 10. But yeah, so I didn't start hunting until I must have been 18. I was moved out of my parents' house. I was living with a buddy in Mason, and the first time I ever went deer hunting, I was in full brown Carhartts.
Yeah.
I was borrowing a gun.
Who was it?
It was Tim Rogers and Garrett Haynes.
Were the first guys that got you?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yep. My first time I went hunting, those boys sat together in a tree stand, and they're like, Todd, you go sit over there by that rock pile.
Yeah.
It was kind of in the middle of a hayfield, and I'm like, okay. So I went over there, afternoon hunt, laid down on the ground. I'm like, oh, this is pretty comfy and boring. So I fell asleep.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So after waking up from a little nap, these deer walk out of the woods into the field, and there was a couple does. I'm like, okay, I don't have a doe tag, so I guess I'll wait and see what happens. And sure enough, 5 minutes later, a little 6-point walks out, and I don't remember the distance and things like that, but I just pulled up this smooth bore 20 gauge shotgun with a bead on the end of it.
Yeah.
Put it on the shoulder and let it rip. And sure enough, first hunt ever of my life, 6-point
Shot a
down.
6-point.
Yeah.
So what's funny about the small world with that is now Garrett's daughter plays soccer with my daughter. Mm-hmm. So it's so funny that I didn't even know that story, that was the first time you went hunting. So
Yeah.
It's very similar kind of to my story. I guess I didn't even realize I might have been hunting a year or two before you then. If
Probably.
you didn't start, because we're the same age.
Yep.
And I guess my brother had me out. I think, like I said before, I think I was 15, 16 years old maybe the first time I went. So you shot a buck,
Yep.
and then
It was all about gun hunting at that time.
yeah,
It was that's what deer hunting was to me. It was November 15th, and I think by that afternoon or by the next day or the weekend anyway, with that group of guys, we were doing deer drives.
Yeah.
And pushing woods.
What? So, because now I'd say you're predominantly a bow hunter,
Correct.
compound bow. When did that start?
I was in college because I remember coming home from Michigan State, going straight to the woods in $12 Meyer camouflage sweatpants,
Yeah.
and sitting in a homemade stand that Joe Ream made and hung for me. And I shot a 7-point with my bow. That was my first bow kill. And I don't remember aiming, but that was college.
Was Joe the one that got you into bow hunting?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because
Yep.
Joe shot through like middle school and stuff. He always did like
Yep.
the 4-H archery stuff.
Yep.
I remember
Yep.
that.
And yeah, I bought a bow. I think he encouraged me to go get a bow. I'm like, well, I can't afford a bow. I'm 18, and I bought a bow at a garage sale for $25.
Yeah.
It was an old Martin bow. It didn't fit me. It was way too long. The cams were about 2 inches in diameter, and I got some arrows, and yeah, it must have been 2002, 2003.
Okay. And so I must have been about the same time as you, because I remember Steve Ackwright's dad brought an old bow over to Steve's house, and I'm hanging out with Steve in the backyard, and his dad pulls this bow out and he's shooting it. He looks at me, he goes, "You want to try to shoot it?" And I was like, "No, I'm good. I had no idea what it was, and he's like, "Here, put this release on your wrist and pull it back." And I shot it once and was like, "Oh crap, I gotta go buy a bow."
Yeah.
And luckily, my brother had an old golden eagle.
Yeah.
And the first time I drew that back on a deer, my adrenaline was pumping so hard that the cams just rested over the top of the limb like this. They weren't clipped on there. The tension held them.
Uh-huh.
I had so much adrenaline going that I pulled that bow back and snapped the cams right off the limbs. The whole thing blew up on me.
In the woods. On a deer.
I don't remember if it was a doe or a buck, but it was the first time I was excited to shoot a deer.
Oh my gosh.
And I remember looking at it going, well,
That didn't work.
time to go buy a real bow. And I went and dumped a bunch of money on like a PSE or something. I don't remember, but
yeah.
I was like, yeah. So then bow hunting's kind of become the thing,
Oh yeah.
and I
for
think
sure.
that's where most of us are is we're predominantly bow hunters.
Yep.
But that changes how we hunted, right?
Oh yeah.
Like
A lot more time to hunt.
you weren't laying at the rock pile in the middle of the field anymore.
Right.
You had to figure out
Tree stands
Yep.
and safety harnesses and access. Yeah. All the things.
or like you just said, the extra month and a half to hunt at the beginning of the
Right.
season was totally different.
Yep, it's warmer, and you're seeing deer doing natural things, not just running. And
Yep.
yeah,
So from those college bow hunting days, well, back then, where did you bow hunt? Were you always hunting at buddies' places and stuff?
started at buddies' places. I was fortunate enough to live with a buddy that had a farm, so he had lots of land. But growing up, my family had a farm right close to my parents' house, and so I started bow hunting there. Like I said, none of the family hunted, so I was the only one. I had younger cousins, but they weren't into hunting. And so, that's where I started hunting, was at my family farm.
How many acres is that?
It's 135. 40 of it is woods. The rest is tillable.
It's a cool farm because it's got kind of the the brushy finger that splits the front field.
Yeah,
Deer traveled like crazy.
Yep.
That's we filmed doe kill out of there,
Yep.
right?
Oh yeah.
We never filmed a buck kill out of there, I don't think.
I don't think so. I do remember drawing back on a buck and screwing that up for Midwest whitetail.
Okay.
During that era.
Was Jake with you?
I think Austin was with me on that one.
That's so crazy. Yeah, and so I guess like if we had to describe this property, how are we going to describe it?
So I mean, first of all, the bigger picture is if you were up in a drone and looked at the section, and by section I mean square mile. Typically in Michigan, everything's a square mile. This is actually 1.5 miles by a mile, and so it's over 900 acres. So the first thing is it's a big section, and then but I mean coming down to the level of the ground, we're talking 80% agriculture fields, and then probably 20% woods. So there's some big fields, and it's a little bit unique because most of the woods and the cover is way, way off the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're back a ways.
Yeah, there's not a lot of timber that's up close to the road. So that's one nice thing. The access I have, I can drive a 1/2 mile off the road, park, and then walk from there. But yeah, it's pretty flat. It's got some low spots. It's got good bedding cover, and it's been logged a couple times over the past, since I've been bow hunting. So, and every time that happens, it just makes things thicker and better bedding. And
I remember going in there with you. I think we did a late season doe hunt. We were filming, God, I don't know, maybe 10 years, probably more than 10 years ago. I don't think we had kids.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
And it was right after they had logged it.
Yep.
In those down treetops,
Yep.
man. I mean, the deer were just piled in there. But, so all right, so I just talked about this kind of finger that cuts that field. Mm-hmm. So basically splits the field, I feel like, into a large field.
Yeah.
And then it totally separates the smaller field, basically, back behind it. So you go from a finger to a small field, then you're into the big woods.
Correct. Yep. So think of it, farm, buildings, and a house up by the road.
Yep.
Behind that, probably 400 yards of open field. Mm-hmm. And then there's this 5-acre finger. We call it the swale. It's low. It typically holds water in the summer. And behind that is what we call the backfield, or the small field. And that's about 13, 14 acres. And then behind that is a 40-acre square woods.
And I think, thinking of it that way, starting up at the farmhouse, and like you just said, the woods is way off the road.
Yep.
Those deer feel so secure in that small field that's right next to that square chunk of woods, right?
100%.
So it's not uncommon. I mean, how many deer do you figure you see in a hunt?
I mean, I don't want to embellish, but it's not uncommon to see 20 plus deer a hunt.
And I've been out there and 100% agree that he is not embellishing.
Yeah.
That it's something about this property, and there's hunting pressure around it.
Yeah, there is.
I mean, you get a lot of hunting pressure.
Yep.
But every time you're out there, I mean, there are a lot of deer.
Yeah.
Which then created challenges. I think in the past, at least the times I was going out there with you and we were kind of new to all this, it was plow your way into wherever your tree stand is, right?
Right.
And it was inevitable. You were jumping deer all over the damn place because you couldn't get in. And
you can't get into the woods, without.
But now what's your approach been on that? How'd you change that?
Yeah, so, I mean, everything is a learning curve, right? And so, I mean, over the years, there's been a lot that we've learned, and one of those is access, and then just the way we hunt the property. We can't go barging in to the woods. I live too far away. I don't have the time to make groomed access trails and, rake all the leaves out so it's silent. So what we do is we hunt the outskirts of the property, and I mean, you could almost say we treat the 40-acre square section of woods as a sanctuary. Let those deer feel safe, do what deer do, let them stage up in there. But when they're coming out of the woods, all four sides is a field. So we've got 2 of those sides covered, and that's kind of where we focused our efforts and our posting, where we're standing.
And the second part of that side isn't even your family farm, right?
Correct.
You had to get creative on that one too.
Yeah, that's been over the last probably 5-6 years, maybe a little more, as that property changed ownership, and a house got built on the property. I know you're not afraid to go up and talk to anyone for permission. And I took a little page out of your book.
We're saying do's till you know.
That's right. And I went and asked permission. It's a single lady. She has a farm. She has livestock. She's a non-hunter. And frankly, doesn't want anyone on her property. So there was a little bit of, barrier that I had to get through. But when that happens, what do? You offer to help. Mm-hmm. So that's what I did. I said, hey, what can I do to help you out around here? And she's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. She said, well, I have all these posted signs I want put along the woods and along the road. Can you do that? I'm like, absolutely. So I took an afternoon and I went and posted, a ridiculous amount of signs, and exactly the way she wanted them. And ever since then, I'm the only one that has permission out there. I park there now. It gives me access off of the other road. So instead of an east-west road, now I have a north-south road that I can come in off the property. And it's an additional 40 acres that is adjacent to the 135. So big picture, now we're talking almost 180 acres that we have access to.
And I also think, because you're talking different farming that field, very seldom that I can remember are those fields the same crop.
Oh, yeah.
It's like they're on the flip-flop rotation of each other. So on my properties, I've got certain properties I look at and I'm like, oh, it's a soybean year, that property's shot. Or, oh, it's a corn year. If it stays up too long, I'm never going to see a deer because they're going to hay.
Yep.
And you have like the best of both worlds every year, because it's like, oh, if I hunt towards this side of the woods, I get beans. If I hunt towards this side of the woods, I get corn. Or you had alfalfa out there one year. Like, oh my, it was like heaven.
This year, another neighbor has cover crop out there. And that's kind of a newer thing in the ag industry that's really catching on. Think of a wheat field. They cut it in the summer, and then that field sits idle until the next spring. So what farmers are doing are going in and either flying on or drilling cover crop. And cover crop is also, like, another way to say that is food plot.
Yeah, it's a food source.
Yeah, it is turnips. It is... whether it's wheat, rye, triticale, buckwheat, all these different, and it's usually a mixture like that. And so they plant that, and it's so much that the deer can't just mow it down in the summer. While there's other food sources. And so what we're seeing now with this cold, I got a picture the other night from the landowner that I had permission to hunt on, and it was of a lot of deer.
How many? Go ahead and tell everybody how many.
Well, out of her one window, where the cover crop is, we counted 61 deer. And then she sent me another text out of her other window facing the field that I can hunt, and there was another 19 deer. So...
So I love having this conversation with you, because I feel like you and I think a lot alike. We're very analytical.
Yeah.
We're always
Overthinkers.
running stuff by each other. Like,
shout out Mark Kenyon.
So yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. And I think even you just talking right now started clicking some things to me. So I can remember when we were filming for Midwest Whitetail, were we filming from? No, we weren't. We were filming a commercial for Hawk, when Hawk blinds and all that.
Yeah.
And we went back on this property, and we were going to spray a food plot and get it all ready to go back in the woods, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm sitting here thinking to myself, why the hell do you want to put a food plot when you have an abundant source of food all the way around this woods? And we put a lot of effort into, and you guys had done work before I got there, but at that point we were trying to get weed sprayed and then be able to go back in and plant and all that. And really, I've thought this way more so on other properties too, is what's the sense in putting forth all the effort of a 1/4 acre food plot when you already have a food source?
Yeah.
You know, and I think now that plot doesn't get planted anymore, does it?
No. It's kind of overgrown.
Yeah, so overgrown. I think the deer use overgrown more than they tend to hit a food plot. And if you have a food plot and it's the only thing around with no other food source, it's going to get mowed down anyways.
Yep.
And then
not be good when you need it to be good during the hunting season.
Yeah, right now it's going to be bare.
Yep.
And you have so much food around, and then the fact that you stopped pushing into the center of the woods and set everything. I mean, you're not more than 20 yards in the woods at any given time now.
That's right.
And having those things, it's forcing the deer to come to the food, right? Which is past you. Mm-hmm. So it's just funny. We didn't think of this stuff.
No.
You know, and there's still a lot of times where we're like, we're not experts at this. Like we don't know all the answers, but somebody else will look at you and go, I have never thought that before.
Right.
Like, you need to talk about it. And
well, each year is you learn something new. And so, back then pushing in like that and having deer blow at you every single time you go in, you're like, we've got to do something different. So,
or if you pushed in too far, you took a chance that half of the woods is picking up your wind the entire hunt.
Exactly. Yep.
And now you're primarily setting yourself up on the east edge of the woodlot with the idea that a predominantly west wind is blowing you out to the field.
We're pretty safe with anything with a west in it.
And hopefully you're killing the deer before they get downwind to you. Right. So that's a huge factor.
The other thing too, it's created a magnet. When neighbors shoot deer, where do you think they run? Mm-hmm. We've had a lot of deer shot from neighboring properties that come to this woods. I mean, I didn't add earlier, but it's the largest chunk of woods in the section too. So we've got that going for us. And by staying out, the deer are coming in there.
Yeah, I think in a heavily hunted area, a sanctuary is gold.
Yeah.
Because if they've got a spot they can feel safe, you're going to pick up every deer from within the rest of that square mile, because they feel like, I got a place I can finally lay down and not have somebody shooting at me constantly.
I think that's what's happening right now. It's later season. We've had a lot of pressure. Like, I don't go out and see 60 or 80 deer in bow season when we hunt.
Right.
But those deer are moving in from neighboring properties, because of the security and the minimal human intrusion. Mm-hmm. So you got that going for it. And then you add on the food, and I mean, that's the basics of what a whitetail needs. They've got everything they need right there.
And is the swale, does that stay wet enough for water?
It does. This year it got dry. It dried out, so there was not water. In fact, that's been on my mind lately as, what little improvements can we make in the future? And we're thinking about putting, some of those little kiddie pool watering holes out there. Yep. Just dig those in the ground, just to have that, mainly a spot for a camera. That's what we like to do is, try and just inventory what is out there. Mm-hmm. And that would be a good spot for that.
And then I think my favorite part of the property personally is where your big woods that you're talking about butts back up to the secondary woods from the piece you got permission on.
Yeah.
And there's a tiny little fence row, 15 yards wide maybe?
Yeah, 15, 20, yeah.
And runs, 50, 60 yards?
Yeah. You remember it pretty well. We've sat in there a bunch.
And it puts you directly between the two food sources, but it also puts you directly in the only spot of cover between two major bedding areas.
Yeah, it's a connector.
And how many deer have you killed out of that spot?
A lot.
Yeah, a lot. A lot.
A lot.
That spot is so awesome. It's one of those spots that you're just like, oh, God.
It'd be cool if you could put an aerial up, kind of zoomed in to just maybe connect.
We can definitely do that. In the address, I'll make sure I include the address and landowner's name and phone number, too, in case anybody's interested.
We'll delete that. But no, it's if you think of an hourglass where you have the big bulbs on one side and then it necks down in the middle. I always struggled as I came through the learning curve of hunting of what guys meant by funnels. And I mean, this is truly one of those funnels that makes sense to me. And basically, it's a connector. It's a 20 yard wide section of woods that literally connects about a 15-acre woods and a 40-acre woods. Mm-hmm. And so anything that wants to go back and forth to bedding areas within those woods is going to hug that little
and it's
funnel.
From the times I've been out there too, it's not a hot spot beginning of October.
Nope.
Because the deer can come out anywhere they want out of the woods into the field and they're happy they've got their food.
Yep.
But I'd say probably October 20th.
Yeah.
Until gun season starts, that's
the place to be.
That is the place to be. It's like a super highway for these bucks to have to travel to look for does. And I put out a lot of cameras. How many cameras do you put on this property?
I just ran 4 this year.
But you just had to make a camera switch, right?
Yeah.
This took you a while to get into the cell cam game because I was like, I've been cell cams for 4 or 5 years, I guess now.
Yeah.
And I think we got it because of going down to Ohio. It was easy to have quick intel of what was going on.
And it just makes so much sense.
Had a whole nother reason because how far away do you live from your hunting property?
I mean, that's part of the reason you saw less and less of me back in the day on Pass-Through Productions is because I got married and moved away. I live on the west side of the state now. It's a 2-hour drive, and it's such a good hunting property that yes, I sacrifice time to come back and hunt it, but it doesn't allow me time to come back and do all the food plot work and change batteries in a camera or swap out an SD card or have that live intel. So absolutely, cell cams were the way to go, and so that's been a game changer. Yep.
And you don't get the luxury of stand time.
No.
Like I do. I mean,
right.
If I've got 2 hours, I'll sneak out and go hunt for 2 hours, even if that's all I've got.
Even if it's middle of the day or, a 9 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Yeah, it might not be ideal, but I look at it as seat time leads to encounters with deer, and you have to be way more strategic about...
Right.
I mean, I don't know about this year, but I feel like last year you didn't hunt until October 20th or so, right?
Yeah.
Because you were like, it's not worth it making the drive.
Well, that and, I mean, family stuff and kids and sports and games and practices. Yeah, it's just...
But it gave you a reason to leave the woods alone.
Right.
So then when you went in, those deer had no clue what was going to hit them,
And really, if you're going to target a buck outside of that opening weekend or opening day of archery... right around the 20th of October until gun season is, where I like to focus my time for sure. I didn't get out till the 25th for the first hunt this year.
What's your favorite day to hunt?
Favorite day? Well,
I know Steve and I had
historically it was November 7th, and I've killed a few bucks on that day. And this year and last year, I've killed bucks on November 2nd. So we're creeping up, closer to that Halloween time frame.
Yeah.
But favorite time to be out there is probably that 3rd and 4th week of October. That's when I see the most amount of activity.
When it's starting to ramp up.
Even if, I don't have a shooter in front of me, I'm seeing 7, 8, 9, 10 bucks a hunt. And, that keeps you out there. That makes you get up early.
I wouldn't know. I've never had that problem. That's where this property, I feel like a lot of properties you don't really need to talk about a lot, but there's something about this property that's, it's magical. It's not necessarily anything that anybody did to improve it. It's just this natural area that the deer congregate to.
Yep.
And I can sit and hunt and be like, oh, I saw a deer or two, and I'll be texting with you, and you're like, I'm on my 37th deer and my 8th 2.5-year-old buck. I'm like, what are you talking about?
My notes recently, instead of trying to count all the does, it's just too many does and fawns to count. And I don't say that like I don't own the property. It's in my family. I'm super blessed to be able to hunt it. Very, very fortunate. There's not a lot we've done to the property other than learn where to set up. Mm-hmm. We make small adjustments based on crops. To your point earlier, this year was the first year in my lifetime that back smaller field behind the swale, between the swale and the big woods, had corn in it. First time ever.
Really?
First time ever. Yes. And so that was a different thing. And so we made an adjustment and we put some hunts in that area between the woods and the corn. And we saw a lot of deer. We had some good hunts. It doesn't happen every time, but
right.
Yeah. And that corn got cut early, so it didn't, impede on seeing deer.
Did they chisel plow it right after?
Yeah, like the day after.
God, wish these farmers would start letting that cut corn sit for another month, because I do feel like that's magic, but that doesn't happen very much.
To what you were saying earlier too, about not putting the 1/4 acre food plot in the woods because there's so much food around. Sometimes those crop fields can be food deserts, really. When the crops are gone, mm-hmm. The beans, they harvest them. The whole point of the farmer is to get those beans out of there and not have spillage and spoilage and,
deer eating them for too long.
Exactly. So, same with the corn. So, this year having that cover crop, that's a game changer. And then also, we do have about 5 acres of a hayfield, and that's a mixture of grasses and clovers. And again, to a farmer, that's a hayfield. To a hunter, that's a food plot.
Right.
So we've got that in the mix too. That was right next to the cornfield, which is also right next to the funnel that we talked about.
It's sickening.
So super fortunate to be able to have property like that to hunt.
But you're right that sometimes less is more. You don't have to alter a property to be successful. And Matt and I deal with that a little bit down in Ohio. Our property in Piqua, it wasn't about going in and altering the property. It was figuring out the better way to gain access. Access is key.
Yeah.
I find that more and more to be the number one factor of the hunt. Is if you're hunting pressured deer, you need good access so you can get in and out. And that's what we did this year, is created access. That it used to be that we'd go through really dumb areas because it was the most convenient way to get to spots. And then we solved the access problem, which I think is pretty much what you solved by getting permission from the neighbor. Mm-hmm. That kind of took care of your issue.
I think you're touching on a really important point that gets overlooked a lot, because the big, shows and articles and even podcasts are all about food plots and habitat management. Well, if you can't alter that, then alter your strategy or your mindset. And I think that's what we've done, and I think that's what you guys have done. Mm-hmm. And, part of that mindset is, okay, alter the hunter's access. That's huge. Alter the timing when you're down there. Don't be out there cutting wood when it's time to hunt.
And I think, too, is if you look at that, those are things that you can change that involve no financial obligation.
That's right. That's what I'm talking about.
You don't have to go buy tractors, and you don't have to go have sweat equity. I mean, you got some sweat equity into making your access better, but I think a lot of the shows and stuff, they're pushing, the food plot company, the seed companies, the tractor companies, whatever. So of course they're pushing all that, but to the average person who just wants to go out and hunt, instead of putting hundreds, thousands of dollars into some of this stuff, just figure out a better way to walk into the woods. Hang your stand in a different spot. Like, that stuff's free. You just got to figure it out. And you can be, I think, probably more successful. I've kind of become less is more.
Yeah.
I feel like the more you go in and screw around with a property, the more a mature deer knows this isn't natural.
I can't agree more. Like, I was forced into less is more. Living 2 hours away, I'm out there less, like physically. So there's less scent, there's less education for deer, and the times I'm out there are very calculated, and good things happen with less human intrusion.
And I would be willing to bet, and I could be wrong on this, I'm sure there's going to be food plot people that disagree with me like crazy. I would be willing to bet that if you ran cameras on the food plot when you had it in the woods, and if you had cameras in that same spot now with it being overgrown, that you would see more deer walking through that thing because it's overgrown.
That'd be interesting, yeah.
I've had that conversation too with the guys down in Ohio, because Matt had some food plots and they weren't super successful every year, but he kept trying it.
Yep.
And it's this big open piece of land.
Yeah.
And now that he hasn't touched it in 4 or 5 years,
the grass
it's become more of the bedding area.
Yeah.
Like, the bedding area has expanded into that spot. And I think the deer feel more natural there than...
And you still have food. There's still native browse.
Right. There's plenty of food.
Deer will definitely eat on native.
And I don't knock that food plots have a place, because I have a food plot at my house.
Right.
But that's because there's not an ag field within 5 miles of here.
I can't knock food plots either. I love food plots. I love the work. I just don't have the time anymore. We used to spend a lot of time on food plots when we had some property over by us. We've since sold that property, but I spent a lot of time over there.
How many acres was that?
22.
Did you kill a buck off that property?
Never.
Yeah.
Owned it for 10 years.
Steve and I were talking about that we remembered you guys buying that property.
Yep.
Thinking you were going to turn it into deer paradise, right?
And I could show you pictures of what looks pretty paradisey. Switchgrass, food plots, turnips as big as my head on poor soils, really thick cover.
But it just didn't hold deer.
Nope. It was long, it was skinny, and the deer passed through it. It didn't hold deer. It didn't hold mature bucks the way we wanted it to. I killed several does out there.
Yeah.
But
But a perfect example of, you could put a lot of money into something.
Yeah.
And make it on paper look as good as you think you can possibly make it look. And if the deer don't want to use it, they're not going to use it, which is why the family property that you're talking about is so impressive, because it's just a natural deer habitat. Like, I feel like I could turn my properties into a million different things and not get the amount of deer that you get out there.
Yeah.
But there's a doe problem.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I was just going to talk about that. Like, having too many deer on a single piece of property is a problem. Mm-hmm. They will overeat, and, I mean, they can essentially starve. They can get disease. Too many deer is a problem. So
the bucks don't have to even look during the rut. I mean, the does are all over the place.
Yep.
So you're going to go in and kill does? I mean, you're going to try to tonight.
Going out after this, yeah. It's the coldest day of the year so far, so we're going to go see if we can at least get one down.
feel like you got to invite like 50 friends. And
I would love to.
I'm sure the farmer would appreciate it.
Should I put my phone number out there?
Yeah,
See any invites?
yeah. See how that goes. But that's a whole nother topic too, because your freezer's full.
Yeah.
And you still want to kill does.
Yep. We are on Doe Nation.
Yeah. Trying to find who to donate to.
Right.
You know, we've talked about it before, Sportsmen Against Hunger and stuff.
Yep.
I actually ended up looking that up after Steve and I talked about it on a podcast, and I think our closest processor to here in Ingham County, Michigan it's like a 30-minute drive.
Yeah.
And so then you're going, oh, do I want to shoot the doe? Because then I got to drive for 30 minutes.
And all the work begins, too.
Yeah, like it's not just as easy as pulling the trigger and saying, oh, I shot one. This is awesome. I'm going to donate it. Like, there's time and effort involved into all of it. And it's fun if you got somebody to help you and do it. I'm all for making the donations, but it's also a real feel of like 6 degrees right now outside. So you going out tonight, I'm like, have fun with that. I got to go to a soccer game inside. So, but yeah, there's a lot that goes into actually trying to control the deer population, and when it's as overpopulated as you're dealing with.
Yeah. We do what we can, but we're not even making a dent, really.
Well, take your 40 does and give them all a single fawn in the spring.
Yeah.
You know, let alone your twins, triplets, whatever you got going on.
Exponential growth.
How the heck do you even begin to control that without just having to go pile them up? But yeah. So, anything else you can think about with this one?
I think we can probably wrap it up.
Wrap this one up. You're probably
it's time to go hunting.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're itching to get out and go hunting.
Yeah,
got to beat those 40 deer out into the field. But I want to thank Todd for hanging out this week. Like I said before, you guys have any questions, comments, feel free to email us at theproviderspodcast@gmail.com. Want to thank our sponsor, as normal, Smoking It, for helping us out with keeping the podcast coming to you guys. Check out their website, smokingit.com. They're also on Amazon. If you hear this one before Christmas, I know they've got some pre-Christmas deals going on, so make sure you guys are going and checking them out. And you got anything else?
I just want to thank you for having me on today.
Oh, it's awesome, man.
It's been fun.
We'll get you on to another one. I'm sure we got some more stuff to cover. So appreciate you hanging out, and we'll catch you guys next week.
See ya.
Yeah, well, the heart